Michael here with DrawingTeachers.com. If you're looking for something to draw when you're bored, a cartoon car is sometimes a really great thing to draw. So let's start with something off to one side of the page. It's like a little cartoon, like a VW Bug or something, with a little hood and a little bumper, and then we'll cut in a little window shape. And here again, this being cartoon, don't worry too much about perfection. This was going to be kind of a futuristic or alien car, so we're going to add another wheel up front here, and this is going to have a gigantic engine on it. So we're just going to work out some kind of way to connect that wheel. And now let's get the inside of this wheel and the inside of the back wheel, and just keep refining that. So a little air intake right there. They have these on the older Mustangs, and like these little fins. I used to put fins on the back of, or not fins, but grates or little air intakes on the back of cars. Sometimes it didn't seem to make any sense why they were there, but it looks cool. So I had just added a little mirror there, and now we're going to refine the back bumper and start cutting in the wheel wells, and do a little hatching in there to darken that up. Let's give these wheels some centers, and we'll work out what the wheel looks like. We're just going to shade in a couple lines coming out from the center, and those will be the dark gaps between the metal part of the wheels. Alright, now we'll go around the top of this and cut in a little bit of a wheel well there. Alright, and as we go forward, I just keep looking for things that need refinement. Kind of work out what's going on with this wheel up front. This is going to be sort of a bicycle spoked kind of wheel, and we'll just do little sort of X shapes for the spokes. Alright, a little reflector right there, a couple little reflectors, and work out a little hood ornament. This is going to be a small bird or duck. Never know what the next big car manufacturer is going to be. It could be like little future duck cars. And a nice big tail light. Now I'm going to find the window. We're going to have this window slightly open, and we'll shade that in there. We don't need to see who's in there right now, and put some little wiggly lines to indicate a reflection on the glass. Alright, little antenna there. And now we need to attach some gigantic rocket engine to this car. And one of the things that makes this especially cartoony is that you can mess around with proportions. Have an engine that's way too big for the car, or have wheels that are way too big for it. That is the nature of caricature, in that you bring certain elements of something out to an unusual size or proportion. So here I'm going to attach another engine. I think I'm going to make it atomic powered to this cone. Maybe not another engine. The first thing could be sort of a nose cone, and this will be an atomic powered engine back here. So just drawing a big cup really here on its side, and now we're going to connect this up with some sort of dryer hose like looking pipes. That might be where the fuel gets pumped through to this engine. And we'll just hatch some little curved lines across that. and just continue to refine and add detail and make corrections. Alright, I'm back on the wheel now. As I was working on that, I looked back over at the car and I was like, those tires are not really done. So come back and work out some lines and shading on the tires, shade around the bottom a bit. Let's give it a ground that's going to help me figure out how to support this atomic powered engine. Once I know where the ground is, I'll be able to place a support for that. A little bit of a wiggly shading there to help give us some depth on the ground. Come back, do a little more hatching on the tops of the tires, a little bit on the back bumper, and just add some detail here to the car. And by bringing the car up to a certain level, it's going to help me to figure out how far to bring the detail up on the engine parts back there. So we're going to connect a little comical support, this little Dr. Seuss style support. If you've ever looked at Dr. Seuss books, they're really the art is really crazy, a lot of fun. Things just kind of make sense in a cartoon science way. And we'll put a spring in here. That'll be sort of a shock absorber for that contraption back there that's holding up the engine. Alright, so back to the engine. What are we going to do with this now? Let's see. I think these rings are going to be part of the atoms that are flying around a sort of a powerful nucleus. Let's go ahead and draw that nucleus in, and then if you've seen that old illustration of how an atom works with the electrons flying around the nucleus, we'll draw some electrons in here. So in that sense, this might be a micro car powered by a single molecule or single atom. And start adding detail to the engine. And when I do this, I think about look online at pictures of 747s and look at rocket engines and how they're structured in panels with rivets. And we'll just mimic that here. Draw in some rivets along these panels. And a couple right here close to the end. And now let's do a little bit of shading on the lower side of this engine to help make it look 3D. And since this is going to be metal and we're going to say it's shiny, we'll put a little wiggle on there that would indicate some sort of a reflection of the world around it. We'll add some little access panels and shapes or highlights. Come back and refine the bottom edges, and then so as we move forward, you draw something and then you see something you need to refine and clean up. You can jump back to that. Particularly when drawing something out of your imagination. It's the first time I've drawn this. Had no idea really what it was going to look like until it was done. So, alright, continue to refine these edges, clean things up. So a good way to pass the time, good way to not be bored is to be creative. Alright, now I'm going to use an eraser here to lighten up that atom a bit. And if you've already drawn that in, then that might be a little tricky for you, but you can always use a little bit of white paint or white out, or if you're drawing with pencil, you can get a kneaded eraser and erase that in. But I had gotten too dark with that, so keep adding some more atoms here to the piece, and we're going to put a little dot of highlight on those atoms. I'm able to do this because I'm drawing this on the computer tablet. And even if you can't do these, I don't know that these are totally essential, but I like the round little shapes. Okay, now on to the cone here. Let's refine the front edge of that. And I'm going to add a little steering rocket right here. And perhaps the purpose of this rocket is to steer. Perhaps it's just to keep the thing down on the ground. Or maybe there's two of them. We just see the one on this side. We'll put a little rocket fire coming out of there. A little bit of shading to help make that 3D. Alright, now for the panels on this front cone. And we're going to do some service panels here where we'll probably have some access to the internal workings of this machine. And we'll do a fuel gauge. Alright, now just putting little rivets around the panels, and these are just little dots. And now that could be a place for putting fuel in. We'll just imagine doing a truck up and bring nuclear fuel. There's a little panel down there, a little marker that with some diagonal lines that give you warning and an arrow to say, hey, this is where you put the fuel in. And you'll find when you look at some of these vehicles out in the field, they have little instructions written right on them. They have arrows pointing to things, and they have little words that say do not step here, and it's to help the service personnel do their job without damaging the vehicle, to do it quickly. So in here, I don't know what's going on here. We're going to just draw some shapes in here and a couple of arrows. So these are these are the attachment points, or the points where you do something. And down here, some sort of let's do some sort of an exhaust port, and we'll have a little bit of smoke or something coming out of there, I think. Yeah, let's do some little puffs of something coming out. And we'll do a little bit of like an intake nozzle or intake hole up here. Alright, now this attachment, I need to refine that, because that's looking like nothing. It's really not meant to be two lines. It's meant to be a solid attachment. So I'll have to think about that. Go ahead and shade the bottom of this cone while I'm thinking about that. And I think I'll just draw some lines across here to fill that space in. So just continue to refine things now, adding detail to this structure. We'll put a sort of windy spring around that, and some kind of little lines popping out from there where it's attached. Coming around, doing a little more hatching on the wheel. Add a little more energy here to our ground. Strengthen that line down there. And we'll make this sort of somewhat off-roadish. We'll add some little rocks and things to the ground. I think that helps to make the ground more solid and place this vehicle on the ground. Come up to the cone here, and right now I'm just going around the design and darkening certain things that seem weak. putting a little shading here and there as needed. You just want to give your overall design, your overall drawing, a balance of dark and light. Another puff of smoke. And I think that we need some radiation emanating from our atom back here. So we'll draw some wiggly lines back there. Alright, now let's say that we need a flag, a little pendant on here to celebrate our favorite team or whatever. And just draw some wiggly lines, and then we'll hatch in some shading on that. And start shading from the folds, and just come back and let it go from dark to light, and add some extra little loops there to that. Well, I think that's about all we're going to do on this design today. This is from scratch, just something to draw when you're bored, a cartoon car of the future. If you like this, please check our channel for more lessons and subscribe to get announcements on the latest lessons coming out. Thanks for visiting, and have fun drawing.